We have with us Mr. David William Lazar from American Mesopotamian Organization and the Restore Nineveh Now Foundation. And we would like to have your comment, Mr. David, on what's going on in, especially in Al-Qush and the other events around, and the Kurdish and what the Kurds are doing to our people there. What was your reaction when you heard about the mayor of Al-Qush was deposed?
Well, thank you very much for having me, Brother Ogin. And it's been a while since I've been on Assyria TV, and I also want to commend Assyria TV on their continued excellent work in spreading news about our nation throughout the world. Now, this didn't come up as a surprise to us. We know these are the policies of the KDP and Barzani's run political party. It's not a political party. It's, I mean, it refers to itself masquerading as a political party, but really it's more like an organized crime. So a syndicate of organized crime, the Barzani family and his allies. We were expecting these things to happen. What has taken place in the northern, I mean, for all practical reasons, the Nineveh plain is divided into two sections now. The northern section, and which is occupied by Kurds, and the southern section, which has the NPU and, of course, elements of the Hashd al-Sha'bi in certain areas. So the northern part, supposedly, the de facto situation is that it belongs to Erbil, and the southern part belongs to Baghdad. Now, in order to complete their work or their occupation, is that they, in addition to the military occupation, as an occupying force or occupying entity, then when a place is taken over militarily, then you have to go and take it over and occupy it administratively. So this is the phase where the Kurds want to take over by administration, and maybe they will not put Kurds, but there's plenty of Assyrians and also Yazidis that are allied with them, that have sold themselves to the KDP. And you know what? Many of them have been members of the KDP for a long period of time. So their loyalty is to Barzani and his tribe. Yes.
Why do you think it happened now, the deposing of the mayor of Al-Qush? Because they tried in 2014 and they couldn't get it through. Why is it something to have with the referendum?
Of course. Now, and then remember the situation now. That militarily they are in these areas, and they have claimed that they will not give them back to Baghdad, and they have drawn a line. Actually, they did a trench. They dug a trench. And this is the northern. They want the northern part because it strategically it's important to them. They have the northern part has the larger deposits of oil and natural gas, 20 to 25 million barrels of oil, and also at the same time gives them access to Mosul. So they're closer to Mosul and of course the oil fields there. And of course now the referendum is another element. They want to make sure that these people in these areas support them, because he definitely does not have the support of the Kurds in Slemania and other areas that are under the Goran and the PUK control.
Do you see that anything has changed after the liberation of Mosul in the power balance between Baghdad and Erbil? I mean, can we say that the Iraqi army is now stronger and can play with stronger cards, and the threats of Barzani are not as serious as before? Can we say that?
No, I think the threats are serious. Nobody wants another war. I mean, the Iraqi people, regardless of their ethnicity, the whole people of Iraq are tired of continued, for the last 30-some years, wars, internal wars, external wars. People are tired. Now, what Barzani is trying to push is, I really think, of course, the referendum will take place. It will be a joke because it will not be monitored by international monitors. It's illegal because he signed off on that constitution of Iraq, the Islamo-Kurdish constitution. And in the constitution, it says that Iraq is one nation and it cannot be separated. So if he really wanted a referendum, he should have asked all of Iraq to have a referendum if the Kurds want independence or not. But at any rate, the main reason is, and from what I know, from my connections in DC and what we've been hearing from DC, is that the region is in debt of approximately $40 billion or more to corporations, countries, and individuals. And Mr. Barzani and his tribe, which he has them as different ministers and all that, went and approached the International Monetary Fund and asked for a loan. And of course, the IMF turned them down and said, you want a loan, then you have to go through Baghdad because you are not a sovereign entity. And of course, went to Baghdad, and Baghdad told them take a hike because all these monies that he's selling oil and revenue from imports coming into from the Turkish border and what have you, all of that, and businesses, every business, large business that goes into the northern region or the region that's under the KDP or KRG control, he and his family members or tribal members become partners in. I mean, they demand that. Otherwise, you can't do business. So it's just similar to Saddam's days and his, and his immediate family and, of course, sons. That's how they used to run the affairs, especially after the 1991 embargo imposed by the United Nations. So we've seen these things before, and he's following in the footsteps of the big dictator Saddam Hussein, and he's not going to be successful.
No, you say he's not going to be successful. My question was whether the balance of the power has changed now, whether the Iraqi army and the government are more powerful now against Barzani and KRG.
Of course, they are more powerful militarily, financially. The days that Barzani and his tribes can wage a war, like his father did or he did, and from the mountains, those days are gone. So Baghdad is the government in Baghdad is legitimate. The government in Baghdad there was parliamentary election. There was real democracy in Iraq with all its problems, but there is a democracy in Iraq, in Baghdad and the other areas of Iraq that are not under the control of the KRG. But in the KRG area, there is no parliament. The president, Masoud Barzani, is illegitimate. He's serving a 10-year, 10th year or maybe 11th year now, 8-year term. So no government has recognized, and this move by Barzani, and they've all pushed back and told them, you work things out with Baghdad and go back to Baghdad and work things out. So he is really in a very difficult situation. The Kurdish, the average person on the Kurdish street, they want independence, but there are ways to achieve this independence, and it's not only Iraq that it matters. The neighbors, the Iran, Turkey, Syria, all of these are factors that play in, and Barzani and his adventures have no future.
What about us, the Assyrians, and our situation, especially in the Nineveh Plains? What do you expect is going to happen next in the next future now?
Well, the alliance or coalition of so-called Assyrian, Chaldean, Syriac parties, that's finished. It's done. That we wasted, 6-7 years. It was a futile experience, or that really these people could not even get together. but they got together because the people or parties belonging, established, or supported by the KRG or the KDP were told to join this alliance and play along. Now that the referendum case came along, we see that all these parties that are close to the KDP or owned by the KDP, I should say, like Majlis al-Sha'bi, but Nahran Democratic Party and others, they are basically with the referendum and independent Kurdistan. This is now, basically this alliance has come to an end. This coalition has come to an end. What we need now is just having an Nineveh Plain province. It's not going to work. It will not work. There will not be a international support for it, and there is not enough support also inside the country. What we are suggesting, and this is the American Mesopotamian Organization with Turkmen and Yazidis, we are suggesting a region of our own for minorities, the Al-Rafidain region with 3 provinces, one province in Nineveh Plain, another province in Tel Afar, and a 3rd province in Sinjar.
But before that, you have to make the Nineveh Plains province. The first step would be
fine. They can run. We want provinces in Sinjar, in Nineveh Plain, and Tel Afar. That's what we're asking. We want only think about ourselves, and at the same time that we have a province, we can also immediately form a region.
What do you say about the Brussels conference at the end of last month, hosted by the Member of Parliament Lazar? They suggested something like that at the policy document, at the final version. Before it was not like that, but they changed it, telling about the province and then a region.
Region for where?
Well, I don't know. They
don't
define it, but
yeah. What we are pushing for is a multi-ethnic, multi-religious region for minorities that have basically the victims of the ISIS genocide. The majority of Turkmen in the Tel Afar are maybe 50-50, or there's a slight majority of Shiite Turkmen. They have suffered a lot. The Yazidis have suffered the most. We've suffered also as well, and our areas have been destroyed completely. So and this is a genocide recognized by the United States, by European countries, by the Iraqi government. So we want to come together and form this region and take these areas out of the coming struggle between Arabs and Kurds. Whether we like it or not, Iraq, Syria, and maybe other countries in the region are going into the direction of having, I don't know what you want to call it, regions, you want to call it cantons. There is a form or type of federalism that's going to go there, that will happen in these countries. So whether we like it or not, there will be a Sunni region. There is a Kurdish region already. We just want to make sure that these areas are not in the ongoing struggle between Kurds and Arabs, Sunni and Shia, and separate them.
That's the meaning, also the meaning of the agreement of March 6 between our largest 10 parties. They demanded the same, not a region, but about the status of the Nineveh Plain to be an own province, not belonging to KRG, for example. What do you say about that agreement? I'm sure you have read it.
Yes, it's the same agreement that they put together in 2010 or 2011. It's the same thing. They just redid the whole thing. But that for me, this alliance is not valid anymore, because there is differences of opinion. I mean, everybody wants a province in the Nineveh plain, but there are parties or entities like Majlis al-Sha'bi or Popular Council, Assyrians, Chaldeans, Syriac, I forgot how the name is, in what order, and you also have the some Chaldean parties, or there's a new party now, Suraya movement. You know, these are fabrications of KDP and Barazani mafia. So these people are siding with the Kurds. They want the province, but they want the province to be part of the region, and maybe a free or independent so-called Kurdistan. They cannot sit at the same table with Abna al-Nahrain political party or Syrian Democratic Movement party. You know, they can't be at the same, because it's two different visions. So I don't see how this alliance can continue. What Barzani steps and the call for the referendum and independence of Kurdistan has separated these parties.
Do you see that the Brussels conference we mentioned has separated, put the last nail on the coffin of this
Yes.
coalition?
Yes, I mean, that was the best thing that ever happened. To be honest with you, the one positive thing from the Brussels conference was that it actually put the last nail in the coffin of this so-called alliance. I mean, it came out. It's obvious from the people who attended who's siding with whom and who's siding with the Kurds. It's unfortunate that we have politicians, and the same thing happens in the United States. They're fooled by the KRG and the Barazani family, that they think that the KRG or KDP are the best thing that ever happened, because they put the label only of Christian on us, and they want to help us. They feel because we're Christian, they're Christian, so they can be part of this. But we're Assyrian first. Christianity, I can change my religion any day. So it's really irrelevant. If they really want to help as Christians, then they do not take a leading role. They support the true independent work and vision of these Christians. They don't support these organizations or political parties that belong to entities or forms or individuals that are not Christian, that have formed them and are financially supporting them.
Then, since we are that divided, some parties are pro-Kurdish and would like to tie all our lands and areas to the KRG, and others seek to have something own. What is needed to be done now? What is going to be with our political and ethnical situation in future? Because this division will create problems from the international community to listen to us or to help us. Is that your meaning too?
Yeah, well, we have gone beyond just meeting with our own organizations and trying to form alliance, and we've created built bridges between us and the Yazidis, us and the Turkmen. When we go to officials, American officials approach America, we approach them as victims of the ISIS genocide, and multi-ethnic, multi-religious, and we want to form a region for all of us that are non-Arab and non-Kurds. And we are the forgotten minorities of Iraq, ethno-religiously different, diverse, that we have been abused by all, by Arabs, by Kurds, by Sunni, by Shia, and it's time for us to unite and come together. I don't see why our political parties would not support the idea of a region for minorities, because if they only want the Nineveh plain, in the Nineveh plain we have Assyrians, we have the Yazidis, we have Shabak, we have Turkman. So we have everything in the Nineveh plain. Why not we come together, then our numbers will be bigger. We support each other. None of these minorities have ever attacked each other or committed atrocities at each other, at least not for the last few hundred years. So there is no animosity. There is no, we can get along. I think we can be an example for the rest of Iraq.
Another positive thing with this region you are scheduling is that it has borders with Syria, with another country, and that means yes. You are not the hands of Barzani are not in the throat of this region. That is very important.
Yes, and it's really a threat to Barzani's dreams, and that's why Kurds or the KDP does not like it. Another thing your viewers might ask: what about our areas in Nohadra, for example, and Ankawa? These are areas in the Iraqi constitution. It does not say that all these areas that belong to a region have to be geographically contiguously connected. So we claim they might be under the KRG control or KRG region, but we will be demanding that administratively belong to Al-Rafidain region. So we're not forgetting about those, and that's another battle that we will have to fight after the formation of this region.
Which support do this idea of the Al-Rafidain region have within our political parties and organizations, Assyrian organizations and parties in Iraq?
Well, no, the only person that came out against it is Mr. Yunadam Kanna, against the region completely. I don't know why he did that, but that's something maybe you should ask him. This is it is supported by at least one or two political parties. I'm not going to name any names at this time, but it does have support. More important also, not more important, but as important is it has support in DC. The idea it didn't come up just overnight. We've been working on this since 2015, but we were looking for the right partners among our Yazidi brothers and Turkmen brothers. So when these parties or groups were found, or we found each other, I should say, then we formed this alliance calling for the creation of the region. We have the support. We have support in the State Department, even during the Obama administration. And actually, we have more support now within the Trump administration. As you know, I worked for the Trump campaign,
yes.
And I have good friends in the close to the administration.
Yes, we have interviewed you in November 19. I see in my computer the last date for our Skype interview.
Yes.
Does the decision of the Iraqi these decisions do they have anything to do with the war in Syria? I mean, the USA is now busy there, and they are putting together things. Is it depending on that, or it's nothing to have with it?
Well, they're all connected, definitely. They're all connected, definitely. But the role that the United States is playing, or has played in Iraq and still playing in Iraq, is much bigger, and strategically, United States is better positioned in Iraq than in being positioned the way it's positioned in Syria. I mean, right now in Syria, the United States, militarily at least, is completely dependent on the PKK, or also known as YPG. Because as you know, yesterday they announced that the CIA has stopped supporting the FSA or the Free Syrian Army. which basically is now a collection of Islamists. So there will be changes, definitely big changes in Syria. We are involved also in Syria as AMO and the Restore Now Foundation, and we're in contact on a daily basis. We work very closely with the Assyrian Democratic Party, تجمع شباب سوريا الأم, GPF, ناطورة خابر تلتمر. So we work closely with all these entities. Matter of fact, we have some plans also coming up soon for both for Syria specifically on how to support our people there.
Okay, if we go back to what is happening in Alkosh today, there were protests and demonstrations in Alkosh as well as in Stockholm and elsewhere. What do you want to say to the Assyrians around the world?
Well, it's great. We need to have more on this. Unfortunately, our organization is not set up. Both organizations to do or organize such demonstrations here in the United States, but we would definitely support and actually participate, all our members, executive boards of both organizations, in such demonstrations. What we will do as the American Mesopotamian Organization in the coming days, we will contact members of Congress on the Foreign Relations Committee, both in the House and the Senate, and also of, I don't know if they still have the Kurdish American Caucus in the Congress. It used to be, last time I checked, there was like 37 members of Congress. If it's still in existence, we will contact them as well. We will contact the administration, the Secretary of State's office, USAID, all these to let them know these are abuses by the Kurdish regional government. We're also aware of this before they happened, or notified the American consulate in Erbil, because we have connections, contacts with them, very close. Actually, we're in contact with the Consul General. We have notified them of these abuses, that these things will take place in the coming weeks. So they were aware of it even before it happened.
Okay. Anything more you would like to add? Something about the conference of Brussels, or?
No, it was obviously a waste of time. First of all, it's non-binding. It's unfortunate that two of our patriarchs went and attended, giving it some sort of legitimacy. But
both are not from Iraq.
Yes, they're both from Syria. Yes, so the patriarchs that are from Iraq did not attend. The main political parties did not attend that we have. The parties that belong are financed or manufactured by Barazani and his mafia attended. And of course, there are also elements of individuals that are opportunistic, that will do anything to be on a TV or just to have their name out there. They also were there. So if it wasn't for the patriarch being there, I would have said it would have been a complete failure and illegitimate, just by having the two patriarchs there. And I'm really surprised at both of them, because I know the patriarch of the Syriac Orthodox Church. I'm just surprised that he attended. I don't know patriarch of the Syriac Catholic, although he used to be a priest in LA, and I met him once or twice. But after becoming patriarch, people change when they take higher positions. I have not met him or talked to him since then. I know both of them have their stand against our anti-Kurdish, definitely not Kurdish as a nation, but definitely anti-Kurdish policies, and specifically the policies of the KDP and the PKK. Both of them take stand against their PKK, and I was surprised that they attended conference that Doronoye elements were there attending, and they both are against Doronoye and the PKK, and they also against, because from meetings they've had here in DC, and as recent as maybe a month or month and a half ago, they expressed in closed meetings. We were not there, but we got word their stand against the KRG and the Barzani, expressed their unhappiness with the Kurds to the American officials, specifically these two patriarchs, and of course also the Chaldean patriarch when he was here as well.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you, Mr. David William Lazar, for sharing with us your thoughts and your comments. And we hope it would not take as long time as last time when we met an interview.
We'll be on your TV again soon. Believe me, there will be some major, hopefully, announcements we will make soon.
Okay. You're welcome.
All right. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Sagi Basima.